This is a video on how to make a very simple beaded rosary. These beads that I purchased from rosarymakingparts.com are very inexpensive, and these are the transparent oval beads. They do have clear ones also, but I found the transparent ones are the easiest ones to work with. They have lots of colors, but there's also different styles as well. And then also this bonded number 7 nylon twine. That's what I use for the rosaries. They also have a number 9, but it's thicker. I would recommend the number 7, works a lot better. And then these crucifixes here I buy from a website called streetevangelization.com. They're called St. Paul Street Evangelization, but the website streetevangelization.com. Really nice quality rosaries for a reasonable, crucifixes for a reasonable price. So when we start making the rosaries, we're going to go ahead and take a piece of the nylon twine, the number 7, and it's going to be 4 feet long. What you're going to do is on one end, you're going to do a double knot. And I say double knot, which is just one knot on top of the other to make it thick so that the beads don't slip through as you're working. It doesn't matter exactly where on the end it is. You have plenty of wiggle room. So make a knot on one end and then take the other end and dip it in clear nail polish. And what that'll do is make it nice and hard. You might be able to use a glue, but that'll make it nice and hard so it doesn't fray, doesn't fall apart while you're working. So once you have that done and it's dry, you're going to go ahead and start with your Hail Mary beads. So do not start with your Our Father. Start with the Hail Marys. You're going to start with 10 Hail Mary beads. In this case, I'm using the purple transparent beads for the Hail Marys. And then we're going to be using the yellow transparent beads for the Our Fathers. We are actually doing these for a Kobe and Jonna Bryant Memorial Rosary Healing event. But you can use any color you like. Just make sure that they are different colors and that you can see the difference so that people know when they're using it to pray where they're at. So on the Hail Mary beads, you're going to need to do 10. And always count, double count, triple count, because no matter how many of these you do, there will be boo-boos. So you always want to double check to make sure you did it correctly. And I'm going to slide that down, and I'm going to go ahead and count just to make sure. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yes, I've got 10. Now I'm going to put on the Our Father bead, and then I'm going to continue with the Hail Marys. So we're going to continue with the Hail Marys until we have 5 decades, 5 sections of the Hail Marys. So when we get to that point, this is what it's going to look like. Again, here's our knot. 10 Hail Marys, 1 Our Father, 10 Hail Marys. Do you see where that's going? So there are 5 sections of Hail Marys and 4 Our Father beads in between. Once you get to that point, what you want to do, make sure it's nice and tight, and then bring your ends together like this. When you do that, you can line it up, and it's not likely that you're going to make the same mistake on both sides. So this is another measure to double check and make sure you didn't make a mistake. See, I put my finger in the middle. I can see there's 5 and 5 on each side there. And then you can see that those line up nicely. So I'm assuming that there are 10 since I've already counted them. Slide the knot down just a little bit like so. Okay. And now this is probably the hardest part, and it's not all that hard, but some people have a hard time with it. While it's together, nice and snug together, okay, you're going to tie a knot here, but you're going to tie it like you tie a balloon, not like a shoelace, like a balloon. So you're going to bring both ends together around your finger, and then both of those are going to come through. And pull them through, and when you tighten this knot, this is where you need to be careful because you don't want this knot going down too far. It's going to be weird. You want to keep it up tight towards the beads. There can be a little bit of wiggle room, and that's okay because then as you pray, see the beads are going to slide, but you don't want it to slide too much. So you only want a little bit of wiggle room in there. Maybe ½ inch. I don't know, something like that, okay? So you have your knot, you have a short cord and a long cord. Ignore the short cord, we'll get rid of that later. On the long cord, you're going to continue. And the bottom of the rosary has 1 Our Father, 3 Hail Marys, 1 Our Father. So I'm going to put on the yellow for the Our Father, 3 purples for the Hail Mary, and 1 more yellow for the Our Father. Once we do that, we are going to put on a crucifix. So when you grab the crucifix, be careful when you're working with the crucifix that you don't pull on it because this ring will open up. It'll come apart. You can put it back together, but it'll be easier if you don't do that. So put on your crucifix. Go ahead and feed it through all the way. Oops. And then you're going to take the end and you're actually going to go back up into these beads. You're going to lace it back up. And you can do those one at a time. Don't feel bad if it looks weird as you're doing it and they're kind of just sliding all over the place because you'll see in the end that they just slide together really nicely. Okay, there's 5 total. It's 3. And 5. There are lots of different ways to make rosaries that you'll find online. I found that this is the simplest way to do it. Okay, so now you have all 5 beads. We laced it back through. You have the crucifix on this side and the string on this side. Hold on to the string, hold on to the crucifix. Again, don't pull on this side, just hold it gently and pull on this loose string here. And as you pull, 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 pull all the way through, you'll see that it tightens right up. And so now you have this string, which actually if you pull the crucifix, it will loosen up again. So you pull that tight, and you have the other side, that was already there, the short string. And now I'm going to recommend that you tie these in a knot like you would tie a shoelace. So literally, as such, make sure it's nice and tight. Give it one nice tug, and then you're going to do it again, and nice and tight, and give it even a better tug. And at this point, I'm going to teach you how to cut and burn. So you're going to take a pair of scissors, and you're going to cut the string. It's going to burn very quickly when it burns, so don't cut it too short. You're going to mess yourself up. You want to give it at least about a 1/2 inch on each side. Oops, like so. Okay, my recommendation is that you use a candle. If you're only doing one, you can go ahead and use a lighter, I suppose, but normally I end up doing a bunch at a time. So this is what you have right now. You have the knot is tied, you have your 2 loose ends that you have to burn. This string, make sure it's tight. See how that tightened up again? This string, if you don't burn it, it will come apart. So you definitely have to burn it. And you have to be very careful when you burn it. Let's see if I can get this closer. You have to be very careful when you burn it because, as I mentioned, it will burn quickly. And you have to blow it out. See how I had to blow that out? It would just keep burning. And you can see how it makes kind of like a mushroom. I'm not sure if you can see that. But it almost like makes like a cap where it, once it cools and it dries, then that almost operates like a stopper. And yes, it does turn black. That happens oftentimes. That's unfortunate, but that's how it is. So now, there you are. You have your knot. It's burned in place. And your crucifix is, on, and your rosary is completely ready to go. So happy rosary making.